Hi, Philip and Evelyn. Welcome again to my class. How's last week going?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Good is good. Anything special happen?
I can't remember any specific things.
Can't remember?
Yeah, I prepared one sermon and 2 short message. So,
Wow.
To learning to trust on God for provision. Yeah.
Good. So you labor a lot in God's kingdom. That's good.
Try to be faithful.
That's good. So today we're going to look at Acts 17, chapter 17, verses 16 to 34. So before our lesson, I would like to ask some questions. So do you think why people worship idols? Why people worship idols? I think in mainland China, a lot of people want to have idols. Why they worship idols? And at the same time, they claim that they are atheism.
They just want to get what they want.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. So how do you introduce Christian God to people who have idols?
There's only one true God.
There's only one true God? It's hard, right?
Or your idol is limited, like you can only request money or children or something, but you cannot request all from one idol.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I will try to open the Bible and point to the passage and show what kind of God I'm believing.
Yes. So let's look at Apostle Paul in Athens, how he tried to preach Christian God to a city, Areopagus, a city full of idols. So let's look at Acts chapter 17, verses 16 to 34. So I think you have already read this passage. So in chapter 17, verses 16 to 21. So this speaks about the background of Paul's speech in Areopagus. So we all know that in Acts 17, Paul arrives in Athens, the city of many Greek gods. In that city, there was a small hill that located in Areopagus. So there is a council of civic leaders. Usually meet at this council. So this council also called the Areopagus. So have charge of religious and educational matters in Athens. So this is the background. So while in Athens, Paul was provoked by the many idols he saw. You can look at the verses. Says that Paul was provoked by the many idols he saw. So he was trying to preach the Christian God to many peoples in that city. So that is when he encountered the Epicurean and Stoic philosophers. They are trying to discover something new to discuss. So both Epicurus and Zeno believed in many gods. So hearing about Paul talking about Jesus, the philosophers had Paul come to the Areopagus and ask him to tell them about this new strange teaching he was proclaiming. So this is the background in verses 16 to 21. So let's see the word provoked. So what does the provoke mean? Stirred, troubled, right? So you are stirred and troubled by by seeing people worship idols. So are you also provoked at seeing people around not knowing God? They are worshiping in temples.
Sometimes to think about their eternal destination, eternal destiny.
So you will be provoked, right? You have a motive in your heart to share the Christian God to them, to tell them the truth and to let them not go into some bad destination, right? So I think this is the feeling that all Christians have in their heart, that provoked by seeing people not knowing God. So this provoke feelings motivate us to share the gospel to people around us. So this is our motivation. I think God put that feelings in our heart, just as Apostle Paul, he preached in essence by seeing so many Greek gods, right? He feel trouble and sorrow maybe. Okay, so let's look at point 2. It's in verses 22 to 26. So 22 to 26, Paul started his speech that God is the creator of the universe. So let's see how Paul actually cut into his speech. So do you see, can you tell me how Paul started his preach? Standing in the midst of Areopagus, how did Paul start his speech?
He affirmed their religion practice.
Affirmed their religion? How did he start his speech? So, for example, you meet someone on the street or in your church, have a newcomer. So, how do you start your speech? By introducing this Christian God? So, I think these techniques will be very important. So, let's see how Paul started his speech in verses 22 to 26. Okay, so he started by an unknown God, right? What did he say?
I found also an altar with this inscription to the unknown God.
Yes, so he cut into the speech saying that, I know you have worshipped an unknown God, right? You want to worship all the gods, just like Evelyn just said. You want all the blessings, so you worship all the gods. But you afraid of losing one God, right? So you build another altar for an unknown God that you can receive all the blessings from all the idols, right? So Paul was very smart. He used this opportunity to share the Christian God to them. He said, I know you worship an unknown God, but what actually the God is, right? So the Greeks didn't know who the God is, just by saying he's an unknown God. Then Paul explained that this unknown God was the biblical God, the creator of the heaven and earth, right? Who does not dwell in temples made of hands. God is the source of life for all nations, and he is really the one we were seeking. They were seeking. We were seeking, right? So, yes. So, as a Christian, we wanted to have the ability to use an cut point, opportunity to, preach our Christian God, right? By when you are talking with someone and he has some troubles or he wants something and he desires something, that you can, lead him to know this Christian God by using, an opportunity to introduce God to him. Okay, so let's look at the point 3. It's in 27 to 31. So in verses 27 to 31, Paul talks about God is the initiator and executor of reconciliation, right? So there is two verses actually catch my eye. It's it's verses 26 to 27. He said, and he made one man from every nation of mankind, that is Adam, right? We are all descendants of Adam, and have determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way toward him and find him. Yet he actually not far from each of us. So in this passage, do you think that God want us to find him? Is that possible that these verses tell us that we can find God by ourselves? Because God says that actually want us to feel their way towards him and find him. Did he really say that we can find God by ourselves? What does this passage really means to you? God wants us to find him?
I think every man has a tendency to seek God and seek the eternal things. But as human, of course, we cannot find God. If we could find him, he's not God.
Yeah.
But I think he put this seeking heart in our hearts. So that's why when people do not know God, we created all kinds of idols.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with you that I searched the New Bible Commentary. It says that this language is sort of like pessimist. It's sort of tragedy, because the grammar in the New Bible Commentary, it said that reinforced that it's God's wish rather than what happens. So the word used for seeking is a very graphic one, often translated groping, in the sense of blindly feeling about for. The negative result is clearly see in the final clause, though he is not far, rather than since he is not far. The point being made is not he is close so people can find him, but rather people cannot find him, but that isn't because he is far away. So this passage actually thus be, they should seek after God, as if perhaps they might grope around to find him, even though he is not far from each of us. So in this Bible commentary, it says that God wishes we can find him, and he is not actually far from everyone, but we cannot find him, because he said we might grope around to find him, but actually we cannot find him. So it means that everyone who believes in God, God must take initiative first to find us so that we can find him. So that tells us that God is a very loving God. So we are all have ignorance of God, but actually, and we cannot find him because all kinds of things and all kinds of fallings around us. So God is a loving God. He actually takes the initiative, like putting like using ministries around the world to tell us the good news, and putting the Spirit, Holy Spirit in us, so we can know him and want to get close to God. So that is all God's work in my theology, actually. So yes, so it's the phrase is actually verses 26 and 27 is actually very pessimistic, right? Very a kind of tragedy here. Okay, so let's look at the last point, is in verses 13 to 34. So after Paul talks about God is the creator of the all universe and the creator of all the people, and God give us a chance to find him, and also God can save us he is the executor of the salvation. So after Paul talking about this, so what is the reaction of the people around Paul?
They mocked.
Yeah, some mocked. Others say that they want to hear more from Paul, and still some believed, right?
Just
Praise
a
the
few.
Lord. Just a few believed. So, like your ministry, you preach, every Sunday and teach many classes, but maybe you share many things to your neighbors, to the unbelievers, but to the newcomers in church. But some will, not care. But other people, there's only, there's always someone that they will believe, right? So makes our labor is not in vain, because there's someone that God called, they will believe, right? By using us co-work with God, right? So this is also an encouragement to us. Though we labor, like Philip labor a lot in a week, but your labor was not in vain, because someone God called, right, before the universe, they will believe by your labor, right, by your co-work with God. So yeah, you should cheer up, right?
Thank you.
So yes, so this is the end of this lesson. So the takeaway message is always to encourage us to share more gospels to all kinds of all the people around us, all the unbelievers, because we know that even although they claim that they are atheism, but they actually in their heart they want to find God. They want all the blessings, right? So they usually go to temples to ask for blessing. Why not they come to the church to know the true one and only true God, the Christian God, the Christ, right? So yes, so in the next week, I hope not only you but me, maybe in the future, give me an opportunity to share the gospel with someone that didn't know God, haven't read the Bible. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.